Good afternoon, passenger. This is the pre-boarding.
Some years back, I was actually into preventing of pregnancy. It sounds strange because now I'm rather pro-pregnancy. Afrigha Surrogacy is an agency located in Accra. Accra is the capital of Ghana. What does Afrigha Surrogacy do? We basically bring the intended parents and the surrogates together to have the wonderful journey to parenthood. There are different ways in creating families. One of its ways is through surrogacy. In Afrigha Surrogacy, we only do gestational surrogacy. What it means is we never allow the surrogate mother to use her own eggs to create the embryos and carry it. My role at Afrigha Surrogacy is I coordinate the parents, the intended parents. So what I do is I make sure that the intended parents are furnished with all the information from the beginning, from the intake, all the end of getting the baby and everything in between. I make sure that they get the preparental order, the same like USA, you get the preparental order, but I make sure that the intended parents are feeling safe and also they are always updated throughout the journey. Maintaining strong relationship with intended parent is actually through emails, WhatsApp calls, normal phone calls, Zoom calls, and I make sure that I'm always available, or at least most of the time I'm available for calls. I always give the intended parents also my personal line in case of emergencies or in case of really pending issues that they need to verify or they need me to be able to update them. Some of the common challenges intended parents have in doing surrogacy in Ghana is, example, they don't see Ghana as a surrogacy destination. Surrogacy destinations are actually like USA, Ukraine, Mexico, India as well. But Ghana is not really one of them. But what I do to make them understand that Ghana is actually a really good place for surrogacy is we have the same laws or similar laws actually as the USA. You will get a preparental order, which in some countries you don't even get that. With your own child, you still need to adopt. So that is something that makes intended parents also feel safe. Another thing is what we do is Afrigha Surrogacy is really transparent. What do I mean with that? Once you come to our office, I have your time, and also I make sure you understand the true journey from beginning to the end, and then also so that you don't really come with surprises. And then also when we do an embryo transfer, we actually film it, which is really beautiful. It makes you feel to be part of the journey from the beginning to the end. Also, once your baby is born, you're allowed to be in the room, delivery room. But what I actually do to also take away the challenges they might feel, like what I said earlier, is being with them throughout the step, and I always make sure to answer all their concerns.
I wanted to become a father for a long time, so that journey is around longer than 8 years. So this took me like a long process to find my way to become a father. And I tried all different things, and you have to know, as a single guy, it was not easy. So I tried different things, and finally I have my little boy. He's laying in his bed, and seeing him, watching him, sleeping, so that means the world for me. And be there for him, and it's still very surreal to see him like this, and when I hold him after all that long time. So finally I'm here and he's with me, so I'm really I'm very grateful, and sometimes I cannot still believe that finally I'm a dad. Yes. So that journey finally came to an end. But now another chapter, being a parent, just started. Finding Afrigha Surrogacy, to be honest, was not easy at all, because I live in Germany, and to do surrogacy, it's not an easy way, because you have to know that surrogacy you cannot do in Germany, it's prohibited. So intended parents and couples or singles, they have to find another way to do surrogacy. And of course, you go to your computer, you talk to people, what you can do. And then, to be honest, Ghana was not on my radar. You know, there are other countries which are much louder and they offer surrogacy, but Ghana was not on my chapter. So I spoke to an attorney, and he told me about the possibility going to Ghana to have a child. So then I contacted Afrigha. I really found them on the internet. And first of all, my expectations were very low, because when you hear Africa, you say, ooh, you know, what is going on there? And some people really told me, how is that possible? Do they still have hospitals there, or do they still live in the bush, or whatever? So my expectations were very low. But after, you know, I had the first contact with Afrigha, so my expectations were very high, because I saw that they really care and they know what they do. So I felt very, very comfortable after I spoke with Afrigha. Having a good and very essential and very fast communication is very important to do like a surrogacy journey, because I am living far away from Ghana, and just imagine you sit there, you are worried what's going on. So you need a partner in that country to do surrogacy you can rely on, and Afrigha is delivering that, because they always make sure that you get the answer on time. So I cannot say anything bad about the communication. So it's excellent. Having a child for many people, it's easy maybe, because, you know, they have a partner to do that. But being a single, or, you know, like a couple, they cannot conceive a child, it's difficult. So having a child in that with surrogacy is, I cannot express that. It's just, you know, it's just wonderful that there are persons there which help other people to have a child with that procedure. So for me, that's everything and beyond in the world. I always knew that I want more than one child. So actually right now my second surrogate is pregnant, so yes, you know, like Britney Spears said, I did it again. The experience with Afrigha, it's just wonderful, amazing, and just expiring, and I'm just happy. I cannot add anything more.
We tend to overlook the little things in life, but those are the things that bring us the greatest joy. I have come to appreciate the incredible sacrifices our surrogates make, and I feel partly responsible for the joy we get to see on the faces of our parents. We get people walking in from all walks of life, but then surrogacy is not for everyone. So now, when we are looking out for people, or when we are looking out for surrogates, aside the medical requirements they need to pass, we look out for people who have a nurturing and kind nature. We also look out for people who can coexist peacefully with others, because, well, we run a surrogacy home and then there are multiple ladies in there at once. We also try to look at the temperaments of the people we are going to be working with, so the house remains as peaceful as it can be. Our intake process is very straightforward, but is very elaborate and time-consuming. We start by having an in-person interview with our surrogates or donors. They then proceed to have medical labs. They do scans before transfer. But then, as I said, we put in considerable amount of time and effort into our process to make sure that we come out with very, very good surrogates and ensure that transfer well, does turn out positive, as we hope.
My usual day at the office includes preparing contracts, important letters, and legal documents. I also schedule appointments between our intended parents coordinator and intended parents or stakeholders to ensure that everyone stays connected and well informed. Being the first point of contact, I make sure I have a clear, regular, and open communication with our surrogates to ensure that their grievances are being heard and worked on.
Surrogacy idea bia so bien to me mfani say another so bien to me nyi say okope surrogates anase okope obi a obetumi afani say amano it is say surrogate no fani say no wi a akola no enye surrogate ni dia na akola no eni surrogate no so entumi share moja baako say surrogate no wi so a ye man bibi.
I believe family is important, and I would like to help others achieve their dream of becoming a family. Afrigha Surrogacy Agency was recommended to me by a friend, and based on her experience, it was good, so I decided to try it out.
I heard about Afrigha through IG because I tried with different agencies and it didn't work out for me. So when I saw their page, I decided to follow and also try it if it would work for me.
I choose to work with Afrigha because my sister told me about them and their money too is good. That's why I choose to work with them.
My experience at Afrigha Surrogacy Home was good.
Afrigha has their special way of treating surrogates women because before I came to Afrigha, I went to different agencies and the treatment was different. But when I came to Afrigha, they had special place for the surrogates, and also they have cleaners and midwife who comes to the house to check up on us. Especially me that I'm carrying twins. The midwife comes every morning to check my vitals, make sure I take my vitamins, and also take my complaints before she leaves the house.
The food, the treatment, everything was okay.
I made right decision coming to Afrigha because before coming to Afrigha, I had a lot in mind that I wanted to do. Example, like I wanted to continue my education and also start some business. And I didn't have any hope at that time. But since I came to Afrigha, I can see things are really changing. Though I'm not done yet with my contract, but I have hope. And Afrigha has given me a lot of hope and encouragement to continue my journey.
After my surrogacy at Afrigha, I was able to further my education and also invest in an online business.
Aside from being a midwife, I act as a medical officer as well. I ensure the surrogates have all their medications and vitamins, as well as those that are yet to work with us. I make sure they have adequate supply of their medication. I ensure that even though most of them are not in our houses, I make sure that they take their medications adequately. And I give them education on the possible side effects they might get from the medications they are taking. Majority of the time, I support both the surrogates and their intended parents. For the surrogates, I make visits to the surrogate house on alternate days. As part of the job, I make sure that everybody is in a good condition. They do not have any complaint. And if there is any complaint, I make sure that they get medical attention as soon as possible. For the intended parents, the support comes mainly after the baby has been delivered. So I make sure we go for postnatal checkups. Aside from the postnatal checkups, I make sure they take all their vaccinations until the time is due for them to leave the country. A normal day in Afrigha, some days it's calm, other days it's a bit chaotic.
On days it's a bit chaotic. Those days we have either embryo transfers or egg retrievals. For the embryo transfers, it requires the presence of the surrogacy midwife, which is me. I have to be there in order to video the whole process for the intended parents. It's just a form of us being transparent with whoever we are dealing with. Aside that, I have to be there to make sure that the intended surrogates are relaxed, they are psychologically and physically prepared for the whole transfer. And then for egg retrievals, I am there as well. I'm actually part of the whole process of the egg collection, from the beginning of the injections they take till the end of their last shot and till the day they are in the theater. It gives them morale. They are a bit relaxed because aside from me, who is a regular face they've been seeing for a while, they probably do not know anybody in the theater. So my presence at the theater keeps them a little bit relaxed, and it gives them the assurance that they are not there alone. There is someone outside that actually cares for their well-being.
I've been in the medical field for probably almost 2 decades now. So if we're talking about medical field, yes, it's about 2 decades now. But specifically in IVF, I've been working in IVF industry for, let's say, about 15 years now. You know, an embryologist is a key person in this whole IVF, the continuum of care of the IVF. And I personally like to refer to us as the first nannies of the babies that we make, because it's the embryologist who is handling the basic aspect of it all, combining the eggs, the sperm, making sure that the conditions in the lab is conducive to make very good embryos, which eventually result in the beautiful successes that we see as deliveries that makes our clients so happy. For Afrigha, I am involved in the embryology aspect for some of their clinics that Afrigha works with. So with our collaboration with Afrigha, there are 2 or 3 main dimensions to our main collaboration with Afrigha. One aspect of it is the creation of embryos. And so you know that with Afrigha's main business of being a premium surrogacy agency, we receive the male partners to produce their semen, which sometimes are used to fertilize the eggs of their wives or partners, and then sometimes also used to fertilize eggs of egg donors, which would have been selected prior by these intending parents already. So in our collaboration, yes, we are involved in the clinical aspect of the job, where we are putting the female partners or the egg donors on stimulation, retrieving the eggs, and on the same day as we are retrieving the eggs, sometimes the male partners are available, they produce the semen for us. Other times, if they are unavailable, they would have frozen the semen prior, and so on that same day we make the fertilization using the different approaches that are required depending on the quality of the egg or the quality of the sperm. We may use different approaches to fertilize them and make the beautiful embryos. That's one aspect of it. The second part of our collaboration with Afrigha comes in when we are at the receiving end of embryos or eggs that have been made in other countries, sometimes from other continents. And we receive eggs and embryos from America, from different places in Europe, and sometimes from Asia as well. And when we receive these embryos, these eggs or embryos are kept in the clinic's main cryobank. And then at the appropriate times, depending on what we have received, either eggs or embryos, we may, if it's eggs, we will have to fertilize them. If it's embryos, they are already made, and so we will thaw them, process them, and transfer into the appropriately selected surrogate that has been previously screened by Afrigha. An important aspect of our work as embryologists, or even in the whole reproductive circles, is people's consent to safety, and then whether their sperm or eggs will not be given to the wrong person. These are essential parts of our jobs as embryologists, because the whole thing that we have built is based on our integrity. And so for myself, for the past 15 years or so that I've been in IVF, the integrity of these things is so key and important. And so I always want to assure our patients or our clients that the utmost care is taken in the lab. It is theoretically possible to inseminate the wrong eggs with a different sperm, but in the lab the utmost care is taken. And to assure our patients is that the system we use is what we call a two-person witnessing, such that before a sperm is added to an egg or something like that, there are two people that will witness the step that, okay, I've taken Mr. A's sperm and it's going to the corresponding eggs, just to ensure that all these theoretical mistakes do not happen in the lab. And even when we put the surrogate or something on the bed, we are confirming the names and tallying to cross-check that yes, this name of this surrogate corresponds to the right IP or intended parent that we've assigned it to. So all these things are taken to the extreme to make sure that yes, there's no mistakes happening at that level.
I've been in the medical field for the past 30 years, and I have been in assisted reproduction for the past 20 years. And during these 20 years, I have helped several couples to achieve pregnancies, couples who have lost hope in having babies, but we've helped them, treated them to achieve pregnancies. It's been very interesting. Afrigha is a company that I have enjoyed working with. Since we came into contact with Afrigha, we work very well. We have a good understanding of each other. My team and their team, we have worked very well, and we have achieved very good successes working together. A surrogate, an intended surrogate, want to come forward. They approach them, they take them through initially counseling and all the legal things to be done, and then they're taken through medical checks. First of all, we do their blood checks, checking for certain infections which may compromise them, like HIV, hepatitis, all those things are checked first. And if they are clean and everything is fine, then the surrogate, the intended surrogate, we'll call it, is introduced to me, and I also do the gynecological assessment, the medical and gynecological assessment. I do a scan to look at their womb, make sure that they are fine and fit for the process. And then once once I'm sure that they are fit, then I start my process. Over here, we provide a complete service. By this I mean that once the embryos are ready, either imported, transferred in, or sometimes we create the embryos here ourselves for the intended parent. Once the embryos are ready, we prepare the surrogates. When everything is done, we do the transfers here. If it is successful, then I look after the surrogate here for the 9 months until she is ready for delivery, and we conduct the delivery also in this facility.
I decided to become a surrogate to help save other family and also for them to experience the joy of motherhood. My family, it didn't sit well with them from the beginning because they thought I was going to be trafficked or maybe I was going to be scammed. But as time went on, they gave me their support and love. so it was okay with them. With the process of me being a surrogate, it wasn't easy because you'll be going in for injections, you'll be going in for medications and other stuff, and pregnancy coming in with a whole lot of complications. It wasn't easy, but with my family by my side and the team of Afrigha, everything was successful. Emotionally, they were there, and throughout the team will come with a contract and they will make you, or they will explain into details what the contract entails so that you yourself, you know what you are going in for. And afterwards, along the line, we went to the court to sign some documents and affidavits. Since I'm a past surrogate from Afrigha Surrogacy and I've experienced whatever thing, the goodness and everything, I will entreat all other female that want to join the team to choose Afrigha Surrogacy.
Me worry ya wo me baboy. Maybe a chemo na ne momo ayede. And na obi introduce e call surrogate way no so. Enti no introduce e na se me me kunu ye decide na ye den ye gye ho asa. Na me kun se be boa nko ade a oni problem bia because so ba na obi ma worry oba don't me fa wo kunu achi. Enti se no no e ma oha obi ama. And so we introduce ma Africa Ghana. And you be home, madam, no, na, looking to your prince, so, say, surrogate when you be. And so, no, no, a boy me, cry, man, never be brave, see, but I may obey my dear son, Sana, I never boy a hano, but what I see who send a day, assume Jabba by nebet my money, my papa, Abaya Brabom. And so, no, boy, me my in a year, and to me carry. Be bad man. Me carry man no. A boy. Na me adu me wo na de me Africa Ghana for me ba mo feel so no mo ye me good. Mo good hospitality. Mo ye ne ma bebre kama. Mo feel no chef oni na ye. Mo hwe ye kama. Enti no me wo wie ye no. E na me ko fie manya any implication bia me okay. Enti me ye okay no. Me sika na mo de ma me no so no. A boy me ma ye fi asumdwe baye e say me ko sua hairdresser adwuma ase na me worry but na mentimi me shop enti na boy me stand on the mam na mentimi be a shop e say me de me ho me ni age asumdwe so aba me kunu so na onya oye still bender e so no so ti me be in shop enti me can share obi bia oye youth say me so worry na asumdwe ni ho a ana e bia yesikasema na we ya so kwa kobo adwaman pa adi ka onu kunu decide na monye surrogate we ni bia da somdie beba.
The law on registration of birth and death was first promulgated in 1965, but sometime on the 6th of October 2020, Act 1027 was enacted to amend the old law. This is because the Parliament of Ghana realized that it was now important to look at the times that we find ourselves in and incorporate the changes in the society into the laws of Ghana to make room for people who want to go through surrogacy to be able to have surrogacy done. And so in 2020, the law on surrogacy was incorporated into the laws of Ghana. And so surrogacy in Ghana is very legal. So the courts essentially, or the laws of Ghana essentially, does not get involved in the details of how the contract or the service should be rendered. Essentially, both parties must be adults and they should be able to agree on their own terms. And it is the terms that the parties agree on that the courts will have to enforce. So in terms of the rights of the parties, that is essentially the responsibility of the parties to agree on what the terms should be, and whatever the terms are, the court will respect and enforce it once it does not violate the Constitution of Ghana and the laws of Ghana. So power of attorney can be given to a person to represent the applicant. That is maybe the intended parent, especially because they are normally the applicant. The power of attorney can be given to them to represent the intended parent. However, we advise that looking at the seriousness of what you are getting involved in, you are able to come to court and then present yourself. Probably the judge may have some personal or direct questions that they may ask you to clarify, and if you give that power to another person, that person may not be able to represent you in that aspect. And so we advise that people who are interested in going through surrogacy should be present by themselves. But if for some exigencies or some reasons the person could not be available, they can still give power of attorney for them to be represented in court for the order to be granted. So essentially, in terms of documentation, the law says you should make an application to the court. And so you have to convince the court that indeed there exists a relationship between the surrogate and the intended parent. And so what we normally request from the intended parent is an agreement or a proof of a contract that we present. We also want to present to the court proof that the embryo has been introduced into the surrogate mother, and so we take a document from the hospital that is in charge of that process as one of the things that we exhibit to the court. We also have what we call statutory declaration, where the intended parent is able to show that indeed the surrogate has relinquished all the powers of parenting or the rights of being a parent of that child to the intended parent. And then also we try to add the IDs of the surrogates and then the intended parent. All these things are documents that we attach to show that indeed there is a relationship between the surrogates and the intended parent. And then any other document that the court may deem fit, the court may still ask you to bring such documents, because at the end of the day, it is your duty to prove to the court that indeed there is a relationship between the intended parent and the surrogate. The rights of the surrogate, I would say that until the time that you relinquish your rights, or what we call the parental order, whether it's a pre-birth or post-birth parental order, until the time that that right is relinquished by the court and transferred to the intended parent, every right of an unborn baby or the baby to be birthed, still stays with the surrogate mother. But immediately the court gives the order transferring the right from the surrogate mother to the intended parent, your rights as a surrogate mother to the unborn baby or to the child are relinquished and then transferred to the intended parent. So those are the rights. And after the rights of parenting have been transferred, the only thing you will be left with is enforcement of the contract. Whatever benefits you are supposed to earn from the contract, that is what is left with you. But essentially, the right of parenting now becomes the right of the intended parent.